Okay, now a couple of years ago, and I've linked to the video below, probably not worth watching, terrible video, although it does have amber in it. I installed a power backup system for the CCTV and the internet router. Now to charge it, I was using one of these, the smart chargers, the HTRC, available on AliExpress. Empty box, obviously, but it's installed down there. The problem with this charger is once the battery is charged, it turns off. That's it, done. You have to unplug it and plug it back in for it to start charging again. Hell of an inconvenience. So I used a timer plug, one of these mechanical ones, and I tried different timing methods, 2 hours on, 2 hours off, 2 hours on, 1 hour off, and 1 hour on, one, you know, tried all sorts. And it just wasn't working out. Obviously different times of the year, it gets lighter and darker at different times. When it goes dark, the LEDs all come on the cameras and the power draws higher. So it just wasn't working at all. And the amount of times the battery ran down so far that the CCTV cut out, or the voltage would get to a certain point, around about 8 volts, where the hard drive would stop recording. The cameras are still showing. You wouldn't know apart from this tiny little alert that comes on in the corner of the screen. So I've had to find a better way. As a consequence of that as well, with the battery running low a lot, that battery now, it's just not holding a charge for as long as it used to. So timer plug is out. I've got a hopefully more permanent solution here. 7-stage battery charger, photo induction. I'll link the stuff below. It won't be affiliate links to this because there's no affiliate program. Let's see what we get here. Instruction manual. I've already read that. Guess what? YouTubers unbox things before we unbox them on camera. Trade secret. So we get a mains power lead, decent quality as well, proper plug with an earth, yeah, that's all right. And the lead that goes from the charge unit onto the battery. Now, this is better than the other one. I'll just show you some footage under there while I talk now. As you can see, there's big crocodile clips on this one, and it's just a bit untidy and a bit inconvenient. You knock stuff about. So this new wire, it'll just be a much neater job. Hopefully they'll fit on, but if not, I've got lug nuts on there. One way or another, I'll get that on. You get a couple of fuses spare as well. They don't go overboard with them, but they're pennies, so that's fine. And what's that? I might have read the instruction book. Didn't see this. Is this a remote control with a solar panel? Photonic Universe. That's where it's from. Oh, I like that. You get a free little solar power torch. Do you know, when I was a kid, we used to joke about solar power torches, and now they're a reality. When we told those jokes, we never thought of batteries, even though batteries had been invented, not that old. Right, okay, so this is the unit itself. I've not looked at this yet. Automatic 7-stage battery charger. I'll do some B-roll footage of it. Right, so we've got the outputs to the battery there. There's 2 positives and 2 negatives. So presumably, could you do 2 batteries at once? Like, not linked together? I don't know. Maybe it does have a mode where you can just put out a continuous 12-volt output, and it does up to, I think it's 100 amps, this one. There's a few different models you can get, and you can get them in 12 volts or 24 volts. So this is the 12 volt 100 amp version. This was £80, which is not much more expensive than this smart charger was. That was all the way from China. This is from the UK. Very nice build quality. I'm guessing that's ABS plastic. It feels tough. It doesn't feel like the cheap, crappy stuff you get on so much stuff nowadays. Decent enough switch. Fan in the back for cooling, but the whole thing's a heat sink, so I don't imagine. And I'm not really going to be pulling that many out. I certainly won't be doing 100 amps. Now, what this will do, this will continuously supply power. So it will keep the battery topped up without overcharging it though, which is important with these sealed lead acid batteries, because they start to let out gases. They seal to a certain point, but they will let out gases, and you know, the flammable gases. So it's important that it stops charging when the battery's full, but it also does conditioning of the battery. Now, that's what I'm going to run it on initially now, because I need it to check the condition of that battery. It can restore some of the health by doing the anti-sulfation phases, pulse charging or whatever they call it, which this charger does, and I have run on that battery, but it didn't seem to make a lot of difference. This does conditioning and all sorts, so I'm hoping that we can get a bit more life out of that battery. We may have to replace the battery though. It's been flat many times. My fault, not this charger's fault. This was a very good charger. I'll still be using it to charge up batteries. There's nothing wrong with that. It's my implementation that was wrong. This is the correct way to do it. So that's what we're going to do now. So excuse the mess. I've been pulling stuff out and quite frankly not bothered tidying up. So that's, at the moment, it's running the pulse on that battery, on the old charger. And like I say, this was plugged in with the timer plug to turn on and off. So the timer plug's going, this is going, and it'll be replaced by the new item. Now, I like these wires. They certainly feel chunky enough, certainly to take up to 100 amps, but they're a little short. But what I'll do is I'll just make sure that the box goes in. I suppose it could go on top of the CCTV unit, and then the battery leads will reach just fine. They've just got to go from the back there in. The lead from this to the wall that plugs into here, that's more than long enough to be able to do that. So a little bit of a compromise, but should be okay. Okay, so they're fastened on nicely now, nice and secure. These lugs that I got off eBay quite a while back, they're really good actually. I bought 20 of them just in case. They was just as cheap to buy 20 as they were to buy 2. So it's one of those. So that wire's in now. That should be okay. This I've just got on top of the CCTV box. I can move it if I find there's overheating problems or anything like that, but it'll probably help to keep the CCTV box cool, because this thing has a fan and is a huge heat sink. This thing has no cooling in it whatsoever, so, and it does get hot. So I'll monitor that and see how it goes, but that's easily adjustable, and I've got enough slack in the wire there to move this, even to mount it on the side here or something like that. I've just turned it round and pulled it out slightly so we can see it for now, but it's permanently plugged in now. We'll flick it on. Seems to be doing a pulse. Okay, so what lights have we got lit up here? Charging voltage 4.2. Gel, no, we want wet. So we hold down the mode button. Wet. There we go, 14.6. Just look at the status. So it's charging at 1.1 amps. Charging stage C4. Absorption. Okay, so I'll let it run through that for a little bit now and just see what it does and what it reports back with the condition of the battery. But it's up to stage 4 because it already was quite... Oh, we're up to stage 5. Battery test. Brilliant. Okay, so now it's doing the battery test. It will see how well it holds a voltage here, basically. And determine whether it needs to recondition the battery or not. So I'll leave that running for a little bit and we'll see how it goes. Okay, the screen went blank there. Ah, right, okay. The screen goes blank. I've just read the instructions. The screen goes blank, and then you can just press any button to wake it up and just see where it's up to. It won't change the modes unless you press it again there. I've got to say, it's running nice and quiet. The other one had a whir to it all the time. I imagine if it's charging up from quite low to high, the fan would kick in at that point. But the modes that this has, if the battery's low, it charges low. Now, so did the other charger. It, you know, like put through low amps and even low voltage. But C7 and so it jumped straight to C7. So it's saying the condition of the battery is okay. So it's saying the charging voltage is 14 and 13.9. You see, it's gone down fast there, 0.1 of a volt, considering there's nothing happening. No voltage, no current. And it's at C7. So apparently once it now needs to recharge again, it will automatically do that. Now, if we turn this on here, this is a USB port and tells you the battery voltage as well. Not accurate, that thing. But you also, this is quite good, you get a cigarette lighter adapter. Oh, well, you can see that with the light, but just allows you to plug car peripherals into it. And on this one, you've got a USB quick charge 3.0 port on it as well. 2 USB slots on it, and I think that does 5 volts at 2 amps, so not modern day quick charge. So I'll just monitor this now. I'm going to put the CCTV power, you know, like powered from the battery, and see what this does about re-engaging the charge, because that was the problem with the old one. Once it was topped up, that was it, it was done. You had to unplug it and plug it back in again, and those mechanical timer plugs get jammed up. And that was another problem I had with it, because it just wouldn't turn back on again afterwards, and you'd only know once the CCTV all went off. Okay, so everything's powered off, but it's all plugged into the battery now. So when I flick this on, this will put the power into the CCTV, and we'll see what that does to the charging status. That's booting up there, and you can see a little amber lighting up different colours. I do miss her. She helped me install all this. I mean, I say helped. Helped in a cat way, you know. Alright, so that's... it's all coming up now. By the way, they go through these little voltage regulators, so this comes straight out of the battery. I've got 2 of them for 2 connections, and when the battery's putting out 14 volts or 8 volts, this steps it to 12 volts. So, and if I've used the wrong terminology for any of that, don't bother leaving me a comment, because I don't care what the real names of these things are. I just care if they work. So it's now showing 13.5, which is quite a hell of a drop. But going up to about 3 amps going in. So that's it on power switching supply. So that will just run 13.6 volts constantly to the battery. I think that might be the mode I need to put it on. The instruction manual isn't great for this thing. I want to pick my type of battery. Wet. There we go. Oof, I don't like that pulsing of the fan. I mean, that is cold air coming out of it. It doesn't need to be on that much. Okay, so 2.4 C4 stage. Right, well, I'm going to let this run for a bit, and I'll keep my eye on it, and then we'll come back with a conclusion. Okay, I've just spoken to Tom at Photonic Universe, and really nice guy, great company actually. I definitely recommend not just the product, but the people as well. So, like I say, there will be a link down the bottom. It's not an affiliate link. I won't make any money out of it. I'm just recommending a good product. So in conclusion, once the voltage drops down a certain amount, I think it got down to about 13.5 volts or something, it'll then kick on and just charge and keep it topped up. So I was worried that I'd have to keep it in that constant power supply mode. Now that is just for running 12 volts from the mains. If you've got something that's high amp 12 volts, rather than buying one of those crappy little adapters, one of these, although they're fairly decent ones. They came from Swan, I think, those ones. But yeah, those will only go up to, like, I think these ones might be 2 amp, but generally a lot of them are just half an amp. So if you've got something that's 12 volts up to 100 amps, that will charge, that will run it from your supply. Now, I don't know if you can see that, how clear that display comes up for you. I'm looking on a tiny screen here with bad eyes. But that voltage is dropping down quite fast, 13.77 there. So it is just keeping it there and thereabouts. But this battery, I think, is pretty much near the end of its life because of the way I've used it. So I'll redo this experiment once we've got a new battery, but that'll be a different video, follow-up video. And what I'll do in that is I'll just run through everything, how it's set up now and the final setup. But this really is just a review, and just to see if this did what I wanted it to do. The automatic 7-stage battery charger from, I keep having to look up the name on the keyring, Photonic Universe. You do get a free keyring with it as well, solar powered. Hey, bloody marvellous. And this is doing exactly what I want, and I'm probably going to get another one so that I can run 12 volt supplies, high ampage stuff, because I have quite a lot of 12 volt stuff around. So that's going to conclude for this video. As I say, we'll do a follow-up where I'll run down the final solution for this off-grid supply CCTV. Off-grid, I mean that it'll run when the grid goes down, because to be fair, it's not happened for quite a while now. Probably getting on for about 2 years. It happened once since we installed this, not long after we installed it. And we've not had any other power cuts since then. So it worked out for that one time, and it's just reassurance for the rest of the time, isn't it? And also we have emergency lighting around the house that's powered off this as well, and that just comes on as you walk past. It's little sticks like this. Just strip LED lights, and they just run off 12 volts, and they plug into a little sensor, you know, a PIR sensor. They're quite good. So I'll run through all that in a final sort of video on this, but I think that concludes it for now. And as you can see, the weather in Manchester is as shit as it always is. Thanks for watching. Oh, like and stuff. Cheers.